Welcome back everyone. The iPhone 12 Pro has actually been out for a little bit of time now, so let's go ahead and see how it holds up a full 6 months later. Now what I can actually tell you is that I've been using this iPhone 12 Pro repeatedly since the first day it came out. Okay, since about 6 months ago, I've been using this as my main phone, so anytime I would do anything that requires me to use a main phone, things like calling, texting, game, video recording, all that stuff, I would use the iPhone 12 Pro. It was my main phone, and I can tell you it has been a solid experience so far. There were a little couple issues in the beginning there were some later issues a little bit later on, but I think as a whole it was about the same stability I think as my iPhone 10 when I had it 2 years ago, but I think it's not as stable as something like my iPhone 11 Pro. Now with that being said, if you want to pick up the iPhone 12 Pro, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now with the iPhone 12 Pro, looking around, obviously nothing has changed with the body. It's still exactly the same. There were, I will say in the beginning of it, there were some issues with the screen. So specifically there were some purple lines, some displays were being weird. That was one of the bigger issues with this phone. I think that was a massive issue plaguing pretty much all the iPhone 12s. But since then, I would say since the last 2 months, and I said this in my yesterday video of the iPhone 12, I really haven't seen too many people talking about it. And I feel like either the issues fixed themselves. I think there was an iOS update that fixed it too. But if it was a hardware defect, most people would turn it in, get it fixed. And I think Apple's supply chain has probably been fixed since then. So that was a massive issue. Luckily, my iPhone 12 Pro didn't experience the purple line issue, but it did experience a brightness issue. So for some reason, the brightness would sometimes go lower and then automatically go higher. And sometimes the max brightness would tap out earlier than expected. So when I raised my brightness all the way up, it would be lower than it would have been maybe an hour ago. So it's very strange. I have automatic brightness off. It was a very strange thing. I don't know what happened there, but since then, I haven't really experienced that issue since iOS 14.2 or 14.2.2, whichever version of iOS came out when the iPhone 12 Pro came out. I haven't really experienced that issue. So I think that's a really awesome thing for sure. I think another big thing I want to hit on with this specific phone is the battery life. So as soon as I got the iPhone 12 Pro, the battery life was not as good as my iPhone 11 Pro, and I made a lot of videos talking about that. Since then, I would say since about that same time with iOS 14.2, the software itself has been more stable, but on top of that, the battery life also has been much more stable as well, and I think it is probably around on par to what my iPhone 11 Pro was at that time. So I think that is another massive feature that this phone had. I feel like it's not any more better than my iPhone 11 Pro. The battery life has gotten better since the first day I had it, and 6 months in, I feel like I can still say that. I feel like the battery life is actually better than what it was when I first got it. So that is another massive feature, another massive, improvement that we've seen since then. So if you're planning on getting an iPhone 12 Pro, the battery life as of this point is about on par to the 11 Pro, but obviously it's not as good as something like an iPhone 11 Pro Max or iPhone 12 Pro Max. So keep that in mind, but I still think the 12 Pro, it lasts me all day. I can do a lot of different things on my 12 Pro, and I'm really happy about it. Now that does lead me into more of the performance segment, and I think the iPhone 12 Pro obviously is one of the fastest phones out. It has, I've done a lot of speed comparisons between this phone and all the other Android phones and new iPhones if they ever come out. Obviously the 13s are coming out very soon, and I've been installing every single iOS version on it, and it's been stable and it's been a very good performing phone. I haven't had too many issues with it, and I think that is one of the biggest, features that you have with this specific device. You are getting a very solid performing chipset and just a very good performing phone from this type of device. So what does this mean? Well, if you're wanting the fastest phone in the world, then the iPhone 12 Pro is one of those devices. It may not be the fastest phone in every single dimension, but as a well-rounded device, any single thing I ever did with my iPhone 12 Pro, it was able to handle it perfectly fine. And even now to this day, like I mentioned, sometimes I edit thumbnails, very rarely I do edit videos on this phone, but still it happens, and sometimes I'm able to go through it, which is perfectly fine. Anytime I go through Instagram, Snapchat, play any games, which I don't really play too often, but like I mentioned, anything I do with the phone, I go through here, texting people, Snapchats, all that stuff, and this phone handles it like a champ. I never felt like this phone was too slow, and since about the last 3-4 months, I haven't felt like it was super unstable or super choppy or anything like that either. So that is another pretty big advantage for this type of device. So I will tell you, the performance, I don't know if it's necessarily gotten faster since the first day we got it, but it's gotten more stable. I feel like the RAM management has gotten a little bit better. The iPhone 12s are still plagued with some RAM management issues, but the 12 Pro, because of the extra 2 gigs of RAM than the iPhone 12, it is a little bit better than the iPhone 12, which I'm really happy to see as of this point. So I can tell you the performance side of things, very good. I've had very little issues there. I will tell you though, with the camera side and moving on to that dimension, I'm really happy with this camera too. I think one of the bigger, I don't know, maybe like one thing that if I wish Apple could improve on, which is still plaguing all the iPhones, is a newer camera UI, a newer camera layout of some sort. I really want to see some cooler improvements. I want to see some new things coming with their cameras. And we've been getting pretty much the same type of camera layout, I think, since like the iPhone 10. Of course, we have the LiDAR sensors and all that stuff. I don't really use a LiDAR sensor too often. I'm not using a lot of AR or VR type of apps or accessories or anything, so it doesn't really help me at all, but that's just a minor improvement. I think the cameras are good. Like I mentioned, 4K 60 on the front, 4K 60 on the back. I can always depend on these cameras for, just being the most stable cameras out there. There's no 8K capability, but for the smoothness and just for the capability that I know that, okay, in this type of low light condition or this type of condition, my phone, I already kind of have a gauge on how my phone is going to perform before I even take my phone out and start filming. So I can kind of get the room prepped up, I can get whatever prepped up, and I can kind of already limit my expectations. So that's a really awesome thing too. The ultra wide sensor and portrait mode are really awesome as well. I will tell you though, going from my iPhone 11 Pro to my iPhone 12 Pro, I was still using my 11 Pro last year as of this time, and the same thing, dude. Like, it's almost the same exact camera. It's almost the same exact phone. Like, I don't see that big of a difference at all. I think the only thing I really do like is the bigger display. I feel like it fits a little bit better in my hand, and I like having that bigger display. But other than that, it feels like almost the same exact phone, to be completely honest. So I will tell you, kind of summing up everything, how has the experience been the last 6 months? Well, I think I'm really happy about this phone as it is right now. I was very disappointed, to be honest, when I first got this phone because there were so many bugs. The battery life wasn't that great. And I was freaking out because I was like, oh my god, like, am I going to have to use this phone for this long and have a horrible experience with it? But since then, it's gotten more stable. It's gotten less, buggier, I guess is that the best word to use. And I still think it's a very good phone for sure. And my favorite thing about it is that it's actually gotten cheaper since the first day it came out. So you can pick these things up for, I think, like a less than $200 off the price on like certain places like Amazon or eBay. So they've gotten down value. I think if you want to wait till the iPhone 13s come out, then these things are going to go down even more. But I think this is a very solid phone for sure still. I don't think it's old. I don't think it's like a bad phone at all. Like I mentioned, there were some issues in the beginning with that have since been fixed for the most part. There may still be some issues that arise maybe even the day after me making this video, but we'll kind of just play it by ear and I'll update you guys as it goes. But I do think as of right now, this phone is still a very solid phone for sure. And if you're in the market of buying another iPhone, I think the iPhone 12 Pro is still a very solid phone, and I would highly recommend you guys to pick it up if you're in search of another phone, even though we're 6 months into the life cycle. So that really pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count. So it means so much for you guys to hit that. Also check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my other channels. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.